So, fast track pilots for international recruitments was the topic of this session. And now I think Emma's screen froze. So maybe Pipa, if you would like to tell a little bit, because this was the suggestion you had for the topic of this session. So what is it all about? Fast track pilots for international recruitments. What are we fast tracking?
What are we fast tracking? Yeah, the idea of this. Yeah, and good afternoon, everyone, on my behalf as well. And sorry for the delay. I was stuck in the rehearsal room. Thank you, Melissa, for the kind message that you sent me via email. I was already getting anxious. I saw that there was no one there. I was the only one. So sorry about that once again. Yeah, the idea of this session was to discuss not just the fast track pilots, but the permit processes in general. There has been a lot of public interest towards how the resident permit processes for work-based and education-based migration are working, or are they not working. So that was kind of the larger framework or a topic or theme that we were supposed to discuss, or that we are discussing today in this session.
Anyway, I'm only here to listen now, because Pipa, you're going to tell us about something new that's happening in the residence permit space, right?
Yeah, surely. Yeah, we. Well, it's where to start. Well, first of all, I mean, if one is an employer, or if you're a talent ready to be hired by a Finnish company and you're living abroad, of course, most of you might know that that if you are a citizen of another EU member states, you are the principle of free movement of workers applies to you inside EU, and that's sort of an easy case. But if a company wishes to hire a non-EU EEA citizens to work in Finland, of course this person must go through a somewhat lengthy and also somewhat bureaucratic process of applying for a residence permit. However, we get a lot of questions about how easy and fast the system for getting a residence permit is at the moment, and I'm glad to tell that especially for high-skilled experts, the processing times for work-based permits are already rather good in international comparison. Just currently, the processing time is approximately 1 month for experts, and starting from next year, aim is to speed up the processing time in order to provide permits for experts and their family members and startup entrepreneurs in just 2 weeks.
Can I quickly ask a question here, or ask Pipa to clarify a little bit? Because there's work-based residence permits, and when you look at it from an employer's point of view, I mean, they're recruiting a worker, an employee to their organization, but the terminology, then when you actually go into the paperwork, you already mentioned the specialist, and then there is the employee's residence permit. So can you tell a little bit about what's the difference? Kind of like to make sure that companies then actually start the processes with the right.
Well, yes, of course, a lot of the problems companies have faced when applying or when their new employees are starting to work with the permit process is that you get delays in processing times quite often because you have applied in the wrong permit category. So it is very important to choose the right category when you start the process. And of course, if you are an expert as I already said, the processing times for experts and for startup entrepreneurs, the reforms that we are at the moment making, the ambition level for processing times is higher for experts and startup entrepreneurs. If you are planning to hire an expert, then you have to meet certain requirements when it comes to the salary level, and then of course if you apply for an expert's permit, the process is smoother in other ways as well. But of course it's important that you check the right category from the immigration rules and from the immigration services website, because yes, as I said, quite often the delays in processing times happen because you have chosen the wrong category.
So to be able to understand which category to choose, it is the salary level, the job requirements, and is the education level, or what would be kind of like the things to think about, that which should I start the process with, which category?
Well,
kind of like what are the key
I think
questions that need to be answered?
Oh yes. So I think the best way to do it is to go through the list of criteria from the migration services website. That's just the best thing to do, because each case is of course different, but certain rules or requirements apply of course to everybody. But that is the best way to do it.
Wonderful.
And of course, it is also always recommended to use electronic online services as much as possible, because they always make it smoother, and they also speed up the process instead of using normal white paper.
Yeah. So maybe if I may ask Satu now, kind of like, if there are employers who are, looking to recruit and they haven't done so internationally before, where could they go for practical guidance?
Well, thank you, Melissa. That is a really good question, and I'm more than happy to give you an answer to that one. So Helsinki Region Chamber of Commerce is actually providing employer counseling service as a part of the International House Helsinki service. So if there are companies or employers who are thinking about recruiting international talents and don't know where to start, how to move on with the thing, please do contact our IHH employer counseling service. The service is free of charge. It's English, Finnish, on email and phone. And free and available to all companies, no matter the region nor the industry. So you can find the information from the IHH website, and the IHH also has a virtual booth on the Talent Boost Service Providers section in this event.
And now we're getting in the chat prompts to get back to the topic of the day, so the fast track pilots. So now can you people tell a little bit more about what is going to be happening?
Yes. So as a background for the startup pilots, I mean, despite the COVID-19 situation, a lot of public interest there's been a lot of public interest towards the importance of international talent and the need to make Finland more attractive and better known worldwide when it comes to education and work-based migration. And companies are rightfully worried that Finland will lose ground in the global race for talent if the permit processes are too lengthy and bureaucratic. As we all know, Finland as a northern and remote country is not a sort of a node of global talent flows, and for that reason we have to put even more effort to what can be done to secure that we are attractive enough and to make sure that administrative processes do not hinder growth and internationalization of Finnish companies. And what the industry is asking for the government to do is actually very much in line with the governmental program. So government has decided to adopt several amendments to the legislation on the residence permit system to streamline and to smoothen to make the processes more quick. And the pilot projects are related to this work that is being carried out. In the Finnish government's budget session during this fall 2020, the government set a goal to create a fast track for specialist experts, startup entrepreneurs and their family members, with an aim to reach a processing time averaging 2 weeks. And idea of these pilots is to these pilots are to test how this aim could be reached in a best possible way. So the pilot projects where companies and those that are being hired are promised 2 weeks processing time for residence permits. They will take place in Silicon Valley and in Delhi next year. And all the companies that are interested in, even though they wouldn't have previous experience from hiring foreign workforce, all the companies that are interested in joining these pilots are welcome. And in the chat, we can provide you contact information of our talent boost experts in Business Finland.
Seeing any questions in chat at all relating to these pilots?
There is a comment that there are suggestions from the employer's perspective as well. Is there a forum where this feedback and suggestions can be submitted to this process?
The pilots, or then the permit processes in general?
Kirsi was asking about this, or saying that we have suggestions here. So were you, Kirsi, referring to the pilots in general, or the residence permits? Employer obligations in general. Okay, was Kirsi's comment referring to? So.
Okay, so what I can say, and actually we have my colleague Kristel Stenman-Huuskonen in the chat area, also providing answer to your questions. Not sure if Kristel has already answered this question, but yeah, as I said, the government agrees that the ease of relocation can be a major factor all in all, and of course one way to streamline the process is to give more responsibility to those companies that are hiring, and one of the actual reforms that take place in this work is that companies will have or employers will have a bigger role in the process, in the permit process, and if this is what Kirsi you are referring to.
Yes, I think we have just under 2 minutes left of this session. So kind of like a recap of timetables and concrete actions that, especially I'm assuming we would need to have companies involved in these pilots. What would be the kind of like that the key points to remember from this discussion, Pipa, in your opinion?
If you are an employer interested in joining the pilots in Silicon Valley and in New Delhi, we will provide you with a contact information in the chat box. So you can contact Business Finland for further information. The pilots will start running early next year. And then the first phase will be under the current legislation, but we will after some new amendments to the legislation, we will have even a smoother way to reach the 2 weeks permit process. A lot of marketing efforts are included in these pilots, and companies that are newcomers in the field of international recruitment will be offered business development services as well that will help them to get going with this with the international recruitments. And of course now with Emma before this seminar, we had a chat. We were discussing about the content of this workshop, and one thing that we discussed was related to sort of how did you put it, audacious dreams regarding residence permits for international talents, that what could be the kind of the big reforms after we have reached the smooth and streamlined processes. And for this, of course, there is no one quick fix to make Finland more attractive. There is no one quick fix even to streamline the permit processes. But the will is to make Finland the best country in the world for international talents, and we need a lot of ideas on how to do this. And now, for the very first time in Finland, we are drafting a policy paper setting a long-term targets and measures for education and labor-based immigration. And this roadmap is something where we want to involve everyone who has interest towards this issue. So we will, in the chat box, we will provide you with the links where you can participate. This sort of a web questionnaire, web questionnaire, you can call it. And we would very much appreciate your contribution and your ideas. And we want you all to share your big, hairy, audacious dreams. Thank you.
I'm glad you like the big, hairy, audacious dreams. We all love those.
I did like that, yeah.
Good. Well, we've let this go in overtime because this is clearly a topic that's got traction and interest, and I can see in chat people are interested in participating in that. Fantastic information. Thanks, Pipa.